What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome. Thanks for hopping on, checking this out. We're here with Coach Thornton, who's got an amazing story, a young coach. I respect guys that started out as student assistants and managers, and he's been a student assistant for 4 years, just graduated, is now going into his first year as an assistant coach at Rogers State University. And definitely somebody that we can learn a lot from today. So make sure you guys are dialed in, tuned in, listening. If you have questions, you can drop them over in the chat or raise your hand. But Coach Thornton, I appreciate you joining us today.
Oh, yes, sir, for sure. I appreciate you having me on.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So maybe give us, I know I gave a little brief background and I talked to you a little bit before, but how did you decide, or what was the reason to get involved in coaching when you went to Fort Smith?
Got you. So, man, I've always loved sports. The biggest thing is just helping young men, even when I was a student assistant for the 4 years, the impact I could have on guys that maybe didn't come from the best background, or because I was at Division II level, so going on my 5th year at that level, you just come across guys that will need you in a little bit different ways. And I think that kind of set in with me. I was like, man, I can really make some impacts at this level and at this division. And even if I go up, hopefully, if I'm blessed to do that, just guys need you. And coaching, you can make relationship with your players that a lot of people don't have a relationship with people in the real world, honestly. I have a couple of players that graduated, go on, and then we go eat dinner in Tulsa or something like that. And that kind of even makes you, man, I'm glad I'm doing this, so.
Just wait, Coach. It gets better. I know I'm quite a bit older, but I was at 3 weddings of former players last summer. I'm going to one this Saturday. The kid that actually played for me is now was a head junior college coach and now is at Idaho State as a Division I assistant coach. And he's getting married this Saturday coming up, 6 days. So I'm excited to get to go to his wedding. But as you get older, that is the best part of coaching is the relationships, just getting to mentor and impact kids for sure.
For sure.
So you went there and so you transferred the head coach that you were working for at Arkansas Fort Smith left and went to Permian Basin. Is that right?
Correct. So I was at Arkansas Fort Smith for 2 years. Had some success there. Went to 2 NCAA tournaments, won 2 conference tournaments back to back. Broke the school record in wins. We had 2 really, really good years. We had a big senior class that was leaving. Coach got a call about this job in Odessa, Texas, called University of Texas Permian Basin. They just beat us in the NCAA tournament the year before, went to Sweet 16. Really, really good team, really good program. Coach had the opportunity to take that job, and he did. And he asked his staff to go with him. So his 2 assistants and then me as a student assistant, we kind of all loaded our vans up and got on the road, and they had nobody on the roster when we got there. We had to recruit 15 new dudes. It was tough, but we ended up – I was there for 2 years, as you mentioned before, and we were above 500 each year, But it was kind of everybody graduated there as well, but they have good budget. And the facilities are going up there, and we just felt like it was a good opportunity to get out of Fort Smith, going to the Lone Star, which the Fort Smith was actually going into the Lone Star year after we left. So we thought it was a good opportunity to already go to a school that's kind of established in the Lone Star instead of trying to transition it. It was a good 2 years. We had our ups and downs, and we didn't have our success like we did at Fort Smith, but it was a good time, and we had good players. And
we had the fresh newcomer of the year in the conference, right?
Correct. So Jacob Ledoux was a transfer from McNeese State. My first year, we signed him a couple of weeks before school. He was a really good player, newcomer of the year in the league, first team all conference. He actually playing pro ball overseas right now. He he left 1 year early to go play pro. He had a good contract, so he did that. And then we signed Pat Dimpley out of Boise State. He was a JUCO All-American out of Iowa Western. He averaged 22 and a half for us last year. He was a really good player. And we signed 5 Division I transfers our second year, and that's kind of been our mold at Fort Smith. And like I said, we were over 500, made the conference tournament each year, made postseason, had some all-league guys. So it wasn't the worst you could do, but it surely wasn't up to our expectations we have at the prior 2 years, at Arkansas Fort Smith. But then I graduated there, and then kind of just on the job search, and it wasn't the best time to be looking for jobs this summer at all. But I got a really good opportunity up here with Coach Barkley at Rogers State University, and that's where I am now.
That's awesome. I mean, turning a program or coming in your first couple of years, especially without anybody on the roster, to finish above 500, that's in the Lone Star Conference, no doubt, no less. That's not, I mean, that's nothing. That's obviously, like you said, probably you guys are used to winning conference championships and cutting nets,
right.
But that's still definitely a pretty good accomplishment when you're coming into a new program and starting.
It was.
Now getting to work for Coach Barkley. How was that relationship formed?
So Coach Barkley is really good friends with Coach Newman. Coach Newman was my head coach for the prior 4 years. When we were in the Heartland Conference, when I was at Arkansas Fort Smith my 2 years, Rogers State was our rival. It's an hour and a half down the road. They're usually second, third in the conference right behind us, Fort Smith. They had really, really good teams at that time. They played super hard. So that was our rival. They came to our place my first year, and for a conference championship. We were playing for a conference championship. Whoever won the game got the conference. And just relationships like that. That was our travel partner. We went on the road. We talked to each other. But overall, Coach Newman had a really, really good relationship with Coach Barkley, and that's how that was formed. And we saw a job opportunity. Their former assistant left to go to another Division II school. And I saw the opportunity. I thought it would be a great opportunity to work for a guy that's had a lot of success here, and also has a really good relationship with my prior coaches I've worked for. So that kind of helped me get my foot in the door for sure and get the job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm really excited for you getting started as a full-time coach, and got a lot going. If you guys have questions, Rebecca, Kenji, if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question to Coach. Talk to me a little bit about Coach Newman and how he built his culture. So your previous job. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Coach Newman did a really good job, especially at Fort Smith. We had guys that we got high school guys that maybe we redshirted a year that came in, local guys. We had a guy named Devontae Thomas out of Tulsa and Seth Youngblood out of Roland. Those two guys and Alex Cooper from the Dallas area. Those three guys just were the backbone of our program for those 2 years at Fort Smith. And his culture was, I mean, he was hard on them. We were hard, and some guys bucked to it some, which is like every program. But those guys, when we were really, really good at Fort Smith, those guys straightened up and got on board, and they had a couple leaders in Devontae Thomas and Seth and Alex that showed on the ropes, like this is how we do it. You're either going to jump on or drop off, and we're going to leave you behind. That's a culture that we had to win. And I felt like when we went out there at University of Texas, Permian Basin, it was all new guys. We didn't have time to recruit a freshman class. We signed mostly all upperclassmen guys, and they're transfers. And when it comes to transfers, you want to always try to find a leader. You got to have a leader within your group. And Jacob Ledoux was a good example. He got in the gym all the time, and he was good, but we just didn't have anybody that followed him. You can't have too many chiefs, just like everybody says. And I felt that was kind of one of our downfalls, especially the last 2 years at Permian Basin. But Newman does a really, really good job of coaching the guys in practice, coaching them to a full potential. He comes to practice ready to work. He spends a lot of time with them off the court. He does a really good job of just checking in with their family, make sure everything's good off the court in their dorms, and just basically building a relationship. And that's one thing important here is you just make sure you build a relationship with your players. If you don't have a relationship with your players, you're not going to be able to coach them as hard as you want to. Because like Coach Barkley, man, he does a really good job just from being here 3-4 weeks. I see him have a relationship with his players, and where if he's not doing something right, we tell him, and he respects what he says and does it, and knows he's saying it for a reason, and that's a good job. And that's one thing that's been an easy transition. I'm sure you're gonna ask the question is how the transition from Newman to Barkley, and it's really similar. They're really similar guys. They're great family guys. They care about their family. They both have kids. They want you to succeed. They're going to get on you, and that's what I want. I want to be. He asked me a question the other day. He said, "Man, what can I do to make you a better coach?" And I said, "Coach, just be on me all the time. Don't let me slip." And that's everybody's different, but that's if I'm not doing something right, I want to be told. And Newman did a really good job doing that. So that kind of sidetracks your question, but Newman just built his culture through relationship with his players, and then a winning transition. If you're winning, man, it helps so much. If you're losing, your culture is going to come together. You don't have to fight it every day if you're winning ball games. But mostly, just make sure you have some leaders. You got to have a player-led program. So,
I think you're 100% right about having a player-led program, and that's one of the things that I think's interesting and challenging about a D2 job, where you are getting a lot of D1 transfers. They're transferring for a reason, whether that's playing time or attitude, or maybe they just aren't athletic, or whatever it might be. There's a reason why they're transferring. And so to get those guys to buy in, even if they are only there for a year or two, that's something that Coach Newman obviously is very successful at molding guys into their roles, getting them to buy into their roles. And I think it's interesting you said that they are very similar. And that is a nice thing for you going in. You're getting to work with guys that have that know each other. And that's obviously how you got the job. And that's where you don't it's not who you know, it's who knows you and who's willing to think about you when it's time for a job, right? So you can know a lot of people, but if they don't know you, and it's not going to matter.
For sure. I believe that.
So at the D2 level, as a student assistant, did you do any recruiting, or because you can do a little bit of everything? Is that full time?
One thing that everybody I talk to, like, man, how are you 22 years old and an assistant basketball coach at college, especially a Division II college, which in the MIAA. And Coach Newman gave me so many responsibilities. It's insane. I have to respect him so much, thank him, because I did scouts, I recruited, everything. I did travel, everything, individual workouts. I was over the guards. Anything you could possibly think of that goes into a program that an assistant does, I've already done. And that's one thing whenever I went through, what have you done? And I said, Coach, man, I've done a basketball program. And that's one thing that really, really helped me. I would say if Newman didn't trust me to go in and make graphics for recruits, bring recruits on campus, make sure the hotel's right, show them around campus, recruit my own guys, just everything that goes within a program. He let me do it at 19, 20-year-old. I'm recruiting players older than me, and that's one thing that I'm just kind of mature. He kind of matured me over the years. And now don't get me wrong, I made mistakes. I didn't do something right, but that's part of the process in which Newman kind of described to me. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to be all right, but just go full blast. Don't barely do something. If you're going to do it 100%. If it's a mistake, we'll figure it out and just keep going. And he just let me in so many hands of the program. Like I said, recruiting, travel, graphics, going on the road, travel, everything you can think of. I can't even think of it every time when somebody asks me that question. What have you done? I have to look at my list. But anything you can do, Newman let me do, and that helps me in transition to this job 100%.
Absolutely. That gives you and that's something that's nice about the D2 level. D1, if you're a director of operations, you're not doing scouting. If you're the video coordinator, or if you're the GA, you're not allowed to be coaching during practice. So being at a D2, we call you / because you're recruiting / video / doing scouts / a little bit of everything, right? Probably washing uniforms sometimes, just doing whatever's needed, right? Well, good, man.
For sure. Everything's needed. I mean, if as a head coach, you don't mess.
You want to make your head coach's job as easy as possible because they have a lot of responsibilities that we don't have as assistants. So we need to try to cut off problems if we can before they get to the head coach.
For sure. A head coach probably don't know 80% what goes on behind his office door, when it comes to, the uniforms are not done. Where are the uniforms? We're missing the uniform. Just easy stuff like that you have to, as an assistant, you don't even need to tell them. You just need to handle it and get it done. So
take care of business.
That's really important. Yeah.
Do what's really needed important. And because he's got stuff that we don't know about going, right? Administration and paperwork and all that stuff. So it is important for us to try to do stuff. It's kind of cutting out for me too, Rebecca. Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Yeah, something, I'm not sure, Coach, but we're getting a little bit of breakup, but so yeah, we'll see if we can. There we go.
Is that better?
It's a little better. Yeah, we'll try that. We'll give that a shot.
Okay.
Well, good, man. Did you watch the Jordan documentary?
I did. It was really good. It was just sick.
A lot of that stuff happened before you remember. I remember a lot of it. I was like 13 that last year when they won. That was definitely a memorable time for me, for sure.
No, it was a really good documentary, and it kind of showed. I think it opened some eyes for sure, some players, and everybody thinks it's Michael Jordan. He had the best life ever, and it opened some eyes and know that what you got to do to get the result that he got, And I talk to recruits all the time. And I'm telling them, man, when he transitioned to college and like in his chance transition to professional league, you have to be locked in. You can't worry about, and our guys too. What's going on Friday night. What's going on in the apartments on Saturday night, or what's the other sports teams doing. You have to worry about yourself, especially within the summer and the preseason. You have to get in the gym, and that's what MJ did. He got in the gym and he worked, and you see, nobody thought he was going to be anything, and he's probably the greatest player of all time.
I heard you drop in that probably the greatest of all time. I'm going to say he's the greatest of all time. Most competitive, best winner, most clutch, in my opinion. Just changed the game worldwide because the NBA was kind of big, but Jordan took it to a new level when he started playing in the NBA. But that's awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking some time, Coach Thornton. Sorry about the audio troubles. I'm not quite sure what's happening. This technology, it's your
no problem.
It's your generation maybe, but I'm excited for you, man. I'm looking forward to following you. Hopefully we have a season, and if we do have one, hopefully you have an excellent one.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you.
Definitely want to stay in touch. And you're from Arkansas originally.
Correct.
And now you spent some time in Permian. What, Odessa? How far is that from
Odessa.
Dallas? Odessa.
From here?
From Dallas.
From Dallas is 5 hours straight
5 hours.
west. Yeah, it's
Okay.
right in between El Paso and Dallas. So it's a way out there now. It's not close to anything.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey,
We were
I
just in
appreciate.
Abilene with the Alyssa Perriman team that we were playing against. They've got some tough athletes out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good lead for sure. Well, awesome. Well, we'll sign off. And then
It's a really good lead.
more. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Be safe. Be well. Just be.